My phones are.
This is The Road Less Traveled with your hosts, Bryan Carmen and Paul Honor.
Hey, welcome to The Road Less Traveled, episode number 67. We're so happy to be here today. We got a great guest. We've got Scott Turney of Turney Financial with us tonight. We're going to talk about financial stewardship, biblical financial stewardship, and some cool backstage stories for some bands that are out there. And we'll talk about Scott's business, Turney Financial, and things like that. So we're looking forward to that. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No, it's great to have you. Hey, Bryan, what's going on, brother?
Just was excited to do the show because it's a little bit different than what we do most of the time. So I'm very curious about how it's going to go, and we'll find out live.
Looking forward to it. It should be really good. So, Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the audience know who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Scott Turney, and I live in Sparta, Tennessee. I live on about a 135-acre working cattle farm. We've been running it for about 25 years. And then I opened up a company called Turney Financial Group. I think it was 2007, but I've been in the financial business for about 30 years now. So we work all over Middle Tennessee, pretty much me and my son. So keeps us pretty busy.
Cool. Oh, that's pretty awesome. So that's pretty exciting. How many acre cattle ranch?
135. We run about 135 acres. We have about 150 head of cattle, and then we run goats and sheep too.
Your name's not Job, is it?
Keep you super busy. I don't know how you have time for anything else.
That's the cattle side. Well, right now, of course, we're feeding. Feeding will stop probably next week or so because it's starting to warm up. But when you feed and have to keep everything up, you start early in the morning before you go to work.
What time about do you get up in the morning to start all that work?
Well, like I told you before, I just had a surgery, so I have some farm hands right now helping me out because I'm not mobile yet. So hopefully
when you're ready,
I start around 5 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I said 3 because I don't know why.
Yeah. All depends if it's snowy and it's a cruddy day. It is 3 in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, we start 2:33 on really bad weather days.
Wow. Well, more power to you, man. My farm would die quickly if I had to do that.
You learn a lot, and you I don't know, the animals actually kind of give you a sense of purpose too. So
right.
They depend on you. So there's a lot going on with it.
And Paul lied to you in the early part before we came on. He said we wouldn't have an extra guest, but then my cat jumped up here, so apologize.
Yeah, she makes cameos. So tonight's topic, I wanted to talk a little bit about, financial stewardship and how that looks for us biblically, and, the concept of, you can't outgive God. And before we go any further, I want to put this out there. We're not plugging for money. Nope. This show never asks for money. And so that's not what this is about. We'll never ask anybody for money. What we want to talk about is, God gives us so much, and we're blessed by everything we have is God. And and you have a cattle farm, a cattle ranch, and it reminds me of that passage, God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. So everything we have comes from the Lord, and anything we need can come from the Lord. So you've been in the financial business for quite a while, Scott. So could you talk about a little bit about what you've seen as far as financial stewardship and the biblical concepts of that in your business and in the personal lives of the people that you help?
Yeah, I've seen, in doing it as long as I have, I've seen probably about everything you imagine when it comes about money and finances. The hardest thing you see is when people get taken advantage of.
Yep.
So I've seen a lot of people that put their faith and believed in people, and it didn't work out the way they hoped. And I've seen some families lose everything, and you can't fix that. But the thing that I got, a couple things that I got from a young age. You said at the beginning of the show, when I was like 4 years old, one of the guys in church came up to me, and we called him the Candy Man, and it's always stuck with me. 4 years old, he shakes my hand. You get your piece of candy, you know. And
Yep.
he used to
Mhm.
tell us at that age, you can never outgive God, and you can't. It doesn't matter what life throws at you or what happens. You just can't outgive God. And all of us have good things and bad things, correct?
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
when you look at and we've had our fair share. I don't know if you know all my story, but we've had our fair share of. That's partly why I'm recovering from this last surgery. We've had our fair share of things we just can't explain. But people forget that the devil's still out there working every day too. And let me tell you, he works on the money side too.
Yep.
If you don't want to believe that, just you can go all over. But money's the root of all evil.
The love of
So,
money.
yeah, the love of money. You have when you look at it, how people look at it and they do things. It's crazy, and all the scams that are going on right now,
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
Yep.
Oh yeah. And that's one of the things that has been my prayer over the last year and a half as I'm looking at transitioning my life, that I want to trust God and I don't want to trust money.
Yep.
I
You have to
think,
trust God.
yeah, and
You can't trust money.
that's where I want to find myself, is that. But in the sense of that, talk about how important it is to also be a steward of what God's given and to be prepared.
You have to. One thing is you have to be prepared. And again, I'm an example of that. If you're not prepared for what can happen, it can have devastating effects. God puts us in position to weather the storms, but
Yep.
you have to take what He's putting out in front of you too. He
Mhm.
opens doors and He closes doors.
Yeah.
You got to walk through them doors. If you don't, you might you might be doing and however you want to look at it. There's doors open and closing for all of us. Some people just don't choose to walk through them, and that comes in money, comes in how we put stuff up. And on our family, and I'll tell you here about a little bit about my story. 5.5 years ago, we had a horrific car accident. That's saying it mildly, and we actually wrecked a car in my son's front yard, and I lost my 14-month-old granddaughter in that car wreck. And they had been rebuilding me and my wife for 5.5 years now, and I just got done with another surgery just 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks ago. Um, we've had, I'd say, between the two of us, over 30 surgeries between the two of us, maybe 35,
Wow.
and thank God that we were in position to handle the storm, because it's been a storm. And thank
Okay.
goodness, thank God we had the faith we have.
Right.
Because I couldn't imagine going through this without God. And I've had people, I've had people in my office. I see 15, 20 people almost every day in my office, and I've had people that you would say are, or maybe you think that are Christians and say things to you. How did God do this to you? Well, we forget the devil's out there too.
Yeah.
He ain't gone silent. And when I say that, and you see the things that we see out there, and even when it comes people coming in with money and they sit down and show you stuff, uh, got to pay attention what you're doing. Um, God give us all a brain, and you got to know what's going on. I mean, most of you are all, when you come in and see us, at the time you see me, this is your life savings, and that's not the time you can mess it up. You mess it up, then you don't have retirement. And I think people should enjoy things that they work for. And I think you also, just as we said, you can't outgive God. You still got to be able to give to God for the rest of your life. That's
Yeah.
part of our commandments. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So we gotta help. And I don't think God put us on this earth. And people too. I don't think God put us on this earth just to be us. I think we're supposed to help other people
Yes.
as we go through life. We're supposed to pick up and help people get from point A to point B. I think that's what we're here for.
With whatever.
One of the
Yeah.
biggest things
Let me
that
interrupt.
yeah.
With every talent that you're doing, because like Paul and I said earlier to you before the show, we've had authors on, we've had musicians, we've had what else?
Mental health experts,
Yeah.
podcasters.
And it's whatever, like you're talking, and I'll let you continue, but I just wanted to interject that just because I'm a musician or Paul's a pastor, it doesn't mean that those are the only avenues that we can do it. Finances are
Correct.
huge. So go ahead. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
you're right. But one of our goals in life, and this is what I think all of our goals should be, our number one goal is to get to heaven, correct?
Yes.
Number two goal is take as many people with us, correct?
Bingo.
If we're not following those two goals, we're off pace, and that goes with money, music, whatever you got that's going out there. That's not priority. Number one is get to heaven. Number two is take as many people with us. And God put a lot of examples in front of us, even on giving. And the New Testament has a little bit difference than what the Old Testament says. And I've heard people tell me, I think the New Testament, they say the New Testament I think is easier. I actually think it might be a little tougher because he didn't give us a straight. When you watch the Old Testament, you read that side of the Bible, he had strict guidelines of what you had to do. The New Testament's more free giving, and free giving is harder than him having guidelines. And I think free giving is you're supposed to do more than the Old Testament. That's my take on it. And when you talk about free giving to God, like we said, you just can't outgive him. And the more we should be a light out there to everybody.
Yep.
And if we're not that light and we're not being an example and doing the things that we should be doing, shame on us. Because he's put so many examples in front of us to do things the way we should when it comes to life things. I mean, one of the great parables, the talents, God, five talents, 2 talents, and the guy buried the one, didn't use it. Don't bury your talents.
And you can't fool God either. Was that Silas
No.
with the husband and wife? What were their names again?
Oh, Ananias and Sapphira.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That
No,
story.
you can't fool God. You're correct. You're correct. God's all, he's all powerful. But again, if we think we're fooling God, we gotta, we're really off. Correct.
Oh,
Our
no
motivation
doubt
is
about it.
totally wrong.
Yeah. And I really think a lot of people think today they're fooling God. Have you? Um, I don't know. As I said, God, we've been through a lot in our family, but God's still good.
Always.
And if you ever forget that, again, shame on you, because God's always good. And you all go to church, you all watch people come in and all that, and people come in and out, and then you'll see some come in that kind of fall away, and you try to encourage them, and then you can't get them back. You've seen people like that. You can't get them back in church or get back going again. And a lot of times, to hate to say this, but a lot of times people use money on that. They'll use finances and things. We don't have money to go to the church because of gas, or it takes out of our time, or jobs, or we always will put something in front of God. And we're not supposed to do that.
Nope.
That's said
Yeah.
time and time again, whether it's money, gas, food, whatever you want to put out there, family. We can come up with an excuse for everything. Agreed?
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah. And I think one of the bigger obstacles that we find within the local churches is, they're always asking for money.
Correct. And I've heard people say that, but we're commanded in the Bible to give on the first day of every week. So that's first day of the week we're supposed to give. So are we? If it's saying that in the Bible, that means we are supposed to give to help things go forward, to help put His name out there and help do things. And just because you're giving to, and not all churches are the same, and you all know that as well as I do. But
Certainly.
because you're giving to a church, hopefully you do your homework with your church and know what the background is, what's going on with that money. Because
Yep.
you should. You should know what's
Yeah.
going on, what they're supporting, and what they're doing, and make sure it's doing what you want it to do. Also,
And you
and
can
if it's
also
not, you should be
support,
putting your 2 cents in.
but you can also support ministries too.
Correct.
Or people. I mean,
Correct.
because you talked about giving and you talk about the Old Testament and then you talk about the New Testament. And I firmly believe that tithing is not so much a command, but a principle. And I think it's a covenant that you make with God where here's 10% back and I'm going to trust you for everything else, Lord. And then
I think it's more than 10%.
Well, the free giving, I think the 10% is the bottom. That's the
Yeah.
bare minimum. And then
Because
you
it
go
doesn't
from
really.
there.
I don't in the New Testament. I don't know if I've ever seen where it just says the 10% figure. Old Testament had guidelines. The New Testament doesn't have a guideline. It just was free will, and I think it's higher than what most people want to do. I think you're supposed to give. If you've done well, I think you should give more.
Oh, I
There's
agree.
some people that
Yeah.
can't.
Well, of course, but that's also individual too. So
Correct. I agree.
because you got the story of the widow lady that gave everything she had, and people were kind of looking at her. But she only gave this much. I gave this much.
Yeah,
It's
but she
more
give
the heart.
she give it all.
Gave everything.
Right, and
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
gave it
It's
all.
more about the heart than it is the money, actually.
It's
Yeah.
all about the heart.
Yep.
Exactly. Motive.
Correct.
And, so in my own personal life, Um, there's been times where my income was below my outgo. And when we were young, my wife and I were young and newly married, and we were getting to the point where we're like, we're not going to pay our bills now. Um, we weren't tithing, we weren't giving. And that's when the Lord put it upon my heart to tithe. And my wife was kind of skeptical at first. And she was like, so we're going to give away more money that we don't have. How does that work? And I said, God, that's how it works. Yep. And she was very quickly a believer because money would show up in our bank account that I couldn't account for. And we were doing really good. I mean, we weren't wealthy, but we were making our bills and we never worried about what was going to come. And then there was a period of my life a number of years ago where we had fallen out of church and I stopped giving, and my income was substantially greater than it was way back then.
Made you feel bad too, though, didn't it?
It made
Didn't
me
you
feel
like
bad,
you were missing something?
And we dug a hole.
Yeah.
That we almost couldn't get out of. And it was one of those things of, oh, I need to tithe again. And somebody in my family said to me one day, she said, you know, I never could understand how your family made it and did the things that you do, except that you gave to the Lord.
Yep.
And she said, then this happened. Did you stop giving? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, why? And I said, because I'm stupid.
You said it, not us.
And that's live.
And so
go ahead.
Yeah, and I was begging God to bail us out, and because I know, cattle on 1,000 hills. What's it to God? It's not. And he was like, no, we're going to do this the hard way, and you're going to learn the lesson through it. And it took a number of years to dig out. But there was that day where I looked at my wife. I said, we're debt free. We just got a mortgage now. That's it. And it was a great day. It was like unbelievable freedom. But the Lord carried me through that. And a big part of that was giving, was being faithful in giving the way the Lord put upon my heart to give.
I did back, I think it was year 2000. I don't know if y'all ever did it, but I did a mission trip to Guyana, a third world country, to go help kids. And I had an eye-opening experience with that. For one, I guess I truly didn't understand a third world country till you go down there and stay 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You guess what? When you're down there for a while, you figure it out pretty quick. But anybody in America, we have so many opportunities. We're pretty blessed in America, and we take a lot for granted in America that we really just don't understand. When you go see these third world countries, what they do and how they have to survive, and the things they do that we just don't understand, and we truly don't understand. When you go down there and you live it and walk it every day, it's like, holy moly. It's such a eye-opening experience. I took a backpack full of candy, and candy to us is not a big deal. Agreed?
Right. Yeah.
You go buy a candy bar tomorrow, it's not a big deal.
Right.
I took all this candy, and I thought, man, one backpack would be plenty for, I mean, a big backpack plumb full. I gave one little kid a piece of candy as we're walking to this place we're staying at. And the guy goes, you shouldn't have done that yet. I went, what? He goes, you shouldn't have done that. I said, well, the kid wanted one. He goes, and I'm a sucker for kids. I mean, I just am. And they got a picture of me. I'm holding up my backpack, and there's 1,000 kids around me, all trying to get one piece of candy.
Just like seagulls.
Yeah, it was instantly, and my candy was gone. I felt so bad because I ran out. I go, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't expecting it. I was like, for a piece of candy, these kids are that. I mean, there's a little piece of hard candy.
Yeah.
And we go do that every day and don't think one thing about it. They got it in stores. You walk in, you can get a piece put in your mouth, correct?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Not down there, they don't. It was that big of a deal. It's just little things you start seeing that. And then, of course, we have heating and cooling here. That's fantastic. Guyana, you don't have the heating cool. The heat's already turned on. Air conditioner is like, whew, I never dreamed I'd miss air conditioner. When I got home, I was like, oh my gosh.
I used to live in Florida.
Oh, it's hotter than Florida by far.
Oh, I'm sure.
I've never been that hot in my life.
Yep.
It was because right on the equator, it was just brutal. I didn't know that. I never felt that before. So when you're seeing all these things, and again, we have the money, we have the means to do what we want to do in America in most cases. And most cases, if we just use our heads and do things right, you can pick yourself back up in America pretty easy if you try.
Sure.
In a third world country, that's not the case. It doesn't happen just real simple.
Mhm.
They don't have the same luxuries and the same things we have in America. And today in America, when we talk about money, you want to earn money today, you tell me where they're not hiring at.
Oh, I know. Every
You
place
can
is
get a
hard.
job anywhere, correct?
Sure. Yeah,
That's not
absolutely.
that way in a third world country. There's no jobs. So you got to live off whatever. And so all the little things that you see are just, it was such an eye opening experience. And then, of course, when you're there day one, you go, wow, and by day 14, you're going, this is pretty tough. This is every day how they live. And so I got a real eye opener. And again, that was, 26 years ago.
Mm.
Something I wasn't, I just went because I got invited. I thought, oh, this would be kind of cool. didn't know, didn't know what I was getting into. The brochure missed a whole lot of things. And when we got down there, I was like, holy cow. I told us, when does the air turn on? I said, we don't have air down here.
When's the air turn on?
Yeah, I was like, it's 120 degrees. It was incredible.
How to
And
say you're American without saying you're American.
oh yeah, but the cool thing about it when we were down there, these people that had nothing, they had nothing, and they're trying to help you.
Yeah. Wow.
That was pretty spectacular. You're down there, and they have nothing, and they're offering you stuff they don't really have to give,
Right.
and they're trying to make you more comfortable.
Wow.
Is that not crazy?
And
Look what
how
we're
was their
doing
outlook? Were they
today.
joyful? Were they more happy? Yeah, happy people.
They're a happy people. When we were down there, the people I was around were happy, very nice. Um, there wasn't really any crime to speak of because there isn't really, to be honest, there isn't much to steal.
Hmm.
Right.
So, but the most of the people were, uh, I would say, 95% of all the people I met were very give you your shirt off their back,
Hmm. Wow.
and they didn't have an extra shirt to give you.
Right. Yeah.
And it really hit
Yeah.
home when you see stuff like that. And here we're in America, and we have homes, we have cars, we have air conditioner. I could not make the people there understand because I was sweating. They don't sweat like we do, and I'm pouring down the sweat. And they said, "How do you not sweat like this in America?" I said, "I push a button on the wall and my house gets cold." I could not make them understand what cold air meant inside of a house.
No
Wow.
way.
Is that not crazy?
That
Yeah.
is. That is.
And
Well,
we
I had
we
a
take so much
friend.
for granted.
His mother, his wife was from Dominican Republic, and they were able to bring her mother over to visit, and they brought her to a grocery store, and she just broke down hysterically crying when she saw what was available for people every day.
Yeah, their grocery stores in Guyana. What we the meat market. Oh my gosh, I did not know. You just don't understand it until you go there and the smell and stuff. It's like it'll knock you down.
Mm.
And these people are going in there and buying their groceries and doing stuff. It's like it's not here. It's just and again that makes you when we talk about stewardship when you go and see that when you come home it makes you appreciate so much more than what you have. But it also makes you when you have money it makes you appreciate one that you have it, but it also makes you appreciate on how you're going to be able to help or do something for somebody else because you know how far it can really go. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
sure. Yeah.
So
And so going to Guyana, how did that affect your outlook on like helping people in other countries or um, doing something like that?
it affected me a lot to be honest. It really took me back to. Of course, I've never seen nothing like that. And again, all of us were raised so privileged. Even if you were raised poor, you're still privileged in America.
Compared to there? Wow.
It's not that, yeah. And so when you see that, you we take so much for granted, and you just got to stop taking things for granted, and you got to figure out you got to figure out how there's so many people that need help, and not just in America, it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
It's everywhere. And we, to be honest, even me, I'll talk about me. I want to do more. I don't think we're doing enough. When you see I had a lady in Guyana hand me her kid, a baby, 4 months old, and said, "Take it home with you, just
Wow.
so it wouldn't grow up there."
Yeah. Well, I'm in contact with people in Pakistan, and they're
Yeah,
telling me, "Can you bring my kids to you?"
yeah,
And I'm like, "I
and
can't."
we don't do that here. You know what I
No,
mean? Would you give up your kids?
no, I wouldn't even something I would even consider. But they're so desperate, and they know what kind of life those children could have here. They're
And,
practically
and when
begging me, "Take my
and when
children, take them to
yeah,
your
when you
country."
talk about desperate, that is such another level of what we even consider desperate in America. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't even know what that feeling means. Correct?
Oh, no doubt.
And like I said, there's so many things, and no, money doesn't fix everything, and it never will. It's God.
Yeah.
God is our answer. And when you can go there and you can teach people, the crazy thing about when you go to a third world country and you teach people, they listen.
Yep.
Hmm.
And they let you be the
The
gospel.
listening, it's the craziest thing. You go there and it's like we would start talking, and there'd be one person, two person, five people,
Yep.
10 people. Next thing you know, there's 150 people around trying to hear what you have to say.
Wow.
You start that in America, that doesn't happen that way that easy. Agreed?
No, it certainly
No,
does
the
not.
left wing liberals will shut you down, scream at your face, and hold up posters.
Yeah, it's just we're in such different dynamics, and uh, money again. Our stewardship of money can do so much for other people and other things if we'll just let God lead us and let God do the things He should through us. And
Yep.
Mhm.
I think we forget that on a daily basis. I think we get up in the morning and we walk in, our coffee turns on automatically, and it's ready when you get up at 6 a.m. And I think we just take so many of those little things that we think is just normal, and that's not, you all. That's
Absolutely.
not normal.
Yeah.
And I
Hey,
think we forget all these little things.
can we hit the comments real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dale Thompson,
Hey,
uh,
Dale.
he's Brian's singer for his band and the world renowned band Bride. Uh, Dale said his priority is to know him, the Lord, and people will know him through me. And going back to what we were talking about, what's the goal in life? And
Yep.
so yeah, that's absolutely true. That should be what our focus is continually.
If a
So
person on his comment, if you go every day and a person can't tell you're a Christian, we're missing the boat, you all.
yeah,
Yep.
They should be able to tell when we're going down the road and how we talk and how we carry ourselves
We have
that
to be
we're
a light.
correct.
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah, and to
And I
that
don't know
point,
sometimes if we come across that way.
well, to your point, we're going to talk about your financial um, group in a little while. But I've been to a couple of your seminars, and you fed us, and you prayed over
Yeah.
the meal, and you don't know who's in that room. You don't know what
No.
their background is, but you prayed. You prayed over the meal. You played gospel music. Um, and I met you in your office a couple of times, and we don't just willy nilly put people on. I was impressed that you were a man of faith.
I appreciate
And
that.
so when we talked about you coming on, I was comfortable to say, yeah, that'd be great because you know, you demonstrated that. And that's so true that we want to be the same person we are in church on Sunday as we
Correct.
are at work, as we are at
Yep.
the grocery store, as we are everywhere else. So
And
yeah.
I also think when you look at our world today, um, I honestly think this is my opinion. This isn't in the Bible, but we have personalities. Agreed.
Hmm. Absolutely.
And I honestly think some of the things that Jesus had to go through and how he had to look at stuff, he had to have some kind of sense of humor to be able to smile at things and go, "Really?"
Yeah.
I
Because he,
mean, you look
Yep.
at it, you go, "He had to go, really?"
he got sarcastic sometimes with people. And he
Yeah,
really did.
yeah,
And I'm a sarcastic guy. So I love that. I resonate with that.
Well, the Bible
yeah.
does say that if they wrote down everything that he did, he would be able to put it in books on the
Yeah,
shelves. So
but just some of the things that you read, I think he had a sense of humor, and I also think and I think that's why we have sense of humor. I think, and I think I think God wants us to smile,
yep.
even knowing we have good, bad, and ugly.
Hmm.
I still think God wants us to get up and smile and encourage people, even if you're having a bad day. Let somebody encourage you a little bit to make you smile. I
Exactly.
mean, we should feed off of each other for that kind of stuff.
No
And
doubt. Yeah.
science backs that up. Science backs it up with like when they talk about, I've seen videos about when you have physical contact,
Yeah,
just touching, even a hug
yeah.
can change everything up in here in your mind and everything. So yeah, God wants us to smile. He wants us to be joyful. He says that whatever things are pure, whatsoever things are just, and the rest of it, focus on these things. Why do you think he would tell us to do that? And then the two
Uh,
great commandments, right? Love the Lord your God and love your brother as yourself. All the
Mhm.
rest falls underneath these two. So God's pretty good at letting us know what he wants of us.
and also, and we talk about the Bible, and you all know people just as well as I do. Even when it comes to money, when they talk about the Bible and different things, God made the Bible. It's pretty simple to read. I mean, yeah, it's got some things moving on it, but the average person, I would say, if they got a fourth grade reading level, they can get from point A to point B of the Bible and be saved.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. It's easy enough to go through and go, this makes sense. This is what I need to do.
My wife was one of those. She was one of those ones that got saved young.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's there. I think it was made for us to one, and we do this. We do this as what we do. We overcomplicate things. We have to. I don't know why. We do this with money too, just so you know.
We do.
That's why I try to keep you've been in my shop when you come in the office. I try to keep things pretty simple. Uh, I think simple is easy. I like simple. I don't think we should ever talk over somebody's head. I don't think we should be that arrogant person. I don't think we're taught that. I
Mm.
think we should treat people just like you were saying. We should treat people the way we want to be treated,
Yep.
and we should come across that way on everything. So I think there's a lot of there's so much stuff in the Bible. When you start reading it and dissecting it, you just go, "Oh wow, well it
Yep.
makes sense."
Yeah. And the more you read it, the more things connect, and the more you discover application for your own life, wherever you happen to be at that period of time. So it's shallow enough for a child to wade in and deep enough for a theologian to drown in.
Correct.
And
Yep.
that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
So Pat's with us tonight. He said, "Hey,
Hey, Pat.
gentlemen, welcome, Pat. It's good to have you tonight." Francisco, it says, "Blessings, brother Paul," and then he also chimed in again after that with preaching the gospel so that many can know the love of God. And you were
Yep.
talking about Guyana and third world countries. Francisco's in Cuba.
Oh
And so
wow.
you know what's going on there right now and the conditions that it's in, and it's horrific. And Francisco and I, we chat a few times a week. Great brother in the Lord, and my heart is just breaking for what him and his family and the people of Cuba are going through right now. And so that's a big prayer right now that Cuba will be free, and people will be able to express their faith because they can't. It's a communist country, and they'll be able to have the basic things that you need to live.
Yeah.
I think there's 15-hour blackouts right now, so it's been really, really difficult. And then Brian's on. He says, "I want to be more like Christ today than I was yesterday. This world needs real and lasting hope, and we can't keep it to ourselves. We're running out of time." Oh
Yep.
man, yeah, absolutely. We need to have a sense of urgency,
Yes.
They just have a sense of urgency.
and that's so true.
We're not promised any minute.
Nope.
Again, I'm an example of that. I'm not supposed to be here today, and we weren't supposed to make it through that car wreck. Um, I know what it is to them. They told me that you will not wake up, and that 5 years
Mm.
ago, 5.5 years ago, that does put a different urgency on. Don't get me wrong, I've always believed, but your faith changes. I don't understand. I don't understand how, but things are more crystal clear It's like it's in 3D now, where it was more plain. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely.
Yep. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about from my last 5 years of struggle. So yeah, what you just said, I was like, yep.
Yeah, and we talked about kids coming to the Lord at a young age. I'm a firm believer that there isn't a point when they're approaching adulthood or entering adulthood where they're going to face a crisis.
They're
And their
all going to
faith's
face
gonna
one
be
sooner or
tested.
later.
Yep.
Yeah, and their faith's going to be tested. And so many young people don't make it through that crisis, and they walk away from the Lord, and they walk away. I mean, we
Because
see
they're
the youth.
giving participation trophies.
Well,
I have an employee that works for me, and he's 42 years old. He did not know God. 42 years old and did not know God.
Wow.
And I hired him a year ago. His illustration to me the other day absolutely broke my heart. He's going to church with us now. He got baptized Tuesday.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
He goes, everything was black and white. It's all in color now.
That's good.
Is that not the coolest thing I ever said?
That is so cool.
42 years old. He said everything was black and white my whole life. Now everything's in color. I can see the leaves. I can smell the flowers. So I couldn't do any of that before. It just didn't work. Is that not the craziest thing?
Jesus
And
gives
that's a
us
guy
such
that grew up
different
in the
perspective.
Bible Belt.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Didn't have a clue. Just
Wow.
blew me away. We started talking. He started talking to me, and again, I didn't know he didn't know. We don't know who's going to be put in front of us. You all
No.
agreed?
Yep.
You never know who's
Absolutely.
going to come walking in that door.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I never dreamed somebody 42 years old didn't know God. I thought
Especially-
everybody, and like in the South, the Bible, I thought everybody's heard of God.
Especially in the Bible Belt, right?
Yeah. And he started talking to me. I go, you not know? He goes, no. So I started getting him stuff and started going and showing him stuff. And my son started working with him, and we started doing more and more. And his comment the other day is, I see everything in color. I've never done this before.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that just took your breath away.
Now we're
Yeah,
past the
it's
halfway
transformative.
mark. We're past the
What's that?
halfway mark. Should we touch on the music part that you wanted to talk about?
Oh yeah. So you got to do some really cool things as a young man, I guess.
Yeah, I've done a whole bunch of the crazy things.
Well, you did some backstage work with some well-known bands. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, when we were growing up, I had a good friend of mine. His mom worked for the Laguna Seca Speedway, and I think Laguna Seca is out of Monterey area, Monterey Salinas area. So we were down there at the Laguna Seca Speedway, and they would bring in these big powerhouse bands and everything. And pretty cool thing is we got chosen on. I couldn't tell you. I was 16 years old. We got chosen on numerous occasions. I got to be backstage for pretty much any big band show you want to pick. So we got to do the Pointer Sisters, White Snake, Metallica. The coolest one we did out of all of them was the Beach Boys. Holy cow, them guys! Out of all of White Snake was nice. The Pointer Sisters were not nice. They got booed when they got on stage. They were very, very arrogant, and they were very snobby to us. We were just peasants to them. But now the Beach Boys came on. He catches out in the front. I'm 16 years old. Mike Love comes up to me and goes, "What are you doing back here?" I said, "I hooked up the stage for you." He goes, "You did?" I said, "Yeah, all of us did. We put this thing together." He goes, "Go up there and sit by the drummer." He says, "You're gonna see stuff you've never seen in your whole life."
Ooh, he
Sit right
just
there by
gave
the
you
drummer.
goosebumps.
I sat by the drummer the whole performance.
Wow.
And he
Made
was
you
right. I saw
goosebumps.
stuff I never thought I'd see before.
That's awesome.
16 years old.
That's wild. And you
Yeah.
mentioned Whitesnake. Joel Hoekstra, the guitarist for Whitesnake, he's a believer in the Lord. He's got a strong testimony.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Why
Yeah.
don't we get him on?
Yeah.
I'll put you on that one, Brian.
I'm all over it.
Well, Scott, you got connections with Whitesnake. Maybe you can get him for us.
Yeah, I was a little young when actually I saw him another time. I saw Whitesnake one. No, I saw Foreigner. I got to meet all Foreigner too.
Ooh, I love Foreigner.
So they were really nice. Foreigner was pretty cool. But most of them were all pretty nice. The only one that was really or the one I didn't care for, that was a Pointer Sister. I was disappointed. That was at their prime. I was so excited they were coming in to get to meet them,
Right.
and they didn't want anything to do with us. I was like, and again, we shouldn't be like that.
No,
That's not what you're here for.
we're all people, man.
That's right. We're all people. And if I'm excited about seeing you, Paul, I should show you I'm excited, and you should be excited to see me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Whether
right.
you're super famous or just a guy walking down the street.
Correct. We should
Yeah.
always show that. And when you again, when you just look at things in our lives, and all of us have done it. All of us have probably done something that we weren't proud of, or something that we go, man, if I could do that again, I wish I'd do that a little bit differently.
Mhm.
Even when it comes to how you maybe handle some things with people and all that, because maybe we didn't show our light the way we should have. And all of us have done something, but as you get older, that should become less and less. It should just you should get brighter and brighter as you get older.
Yeah, in 1985, I became a Christian. And then I have never turned down an opportunity to preach gospel. But one time in my life, I was living the way I shouldn't. And a high-low driver from my job actually banged down the door and he's like, "Hey, Bryan, I want to know about Jesus." And I cannot believe to this day. And I said, that'll never happen again. I turned him away.
Oh, Lordy.
After that day, I've looked for opportunities. And I'm talking, this was like 30 years ago. 30,
Yeah.
30. So yeah, I was wanting to make that point because you said that if you can go back in time and do it again, then we lose the lesson. So the
Correct.
hard times, they're there to grow us.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. But boy, some of the things you wish you could change,
Oh
correct?
yeah, yeah. But I just wanted to do the flip side of the coin.
Oh
to
yeah,
that
yeah, I
listener.
get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other part of that too is we do make mistakes, we do blow it, and
Yeah.
God's in the cleanup business. God will take the mistakes that we made, and Romans 8:28 them. All things work together for good for those that love the Lord and call according to his purpose. And
Yep.
there's a passage, I think it's in Proverbs, that says, or in Psalms, all things are God's tool. So
Yep.
even when we blow it, that's not an excuse to go out and do bad, stupid things. But when you get to that point of
We ask for
renewal,
forgiveness, and we do like he said, put a check mark. We ain't doing that again.
yeah, you pick
Keep
up,
going.
and
Yeah.
you get up and you go forward and you trust the Lord, and you do better, and you
Yeah.
ask God to show you how to do better.
And one of my favorite Bible verses, and I can't remember where it's at right now, but it's talking about we
I
take
bet
our
it's in the Bible.
yes, one of those 66 books. You take our steps, but God guides our path. Kind of like if you're try to picture in your mind's eye, you're carrying a lantern and you're in the middle of the dark woods. You can't see anything except for where it's lighting by your feet. So it takes faith, and you're kind of hesitant, right? You're not just running through because you could trip over something, hit a tree. So what you're doing is Jesus is that light, and you're following that light as he guides you. And I think that's so cool.
Well, this one boy that I just told him about, he's 42 years old, and when he told me at 42, and again, he got dropped in our lap somehow. God, I could not imagine going 42 years of my life and not knowing God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I grew up in the church and grew up as a Christian, which is, I'm lucky. But now some people weren't as lucky. But I'm still thinking today in America, how could you make it 42 years and not even have a clue of that? You know what I mean? Not in America. You don't think that would be possible?
Because you got to see something about God on the TV, the radio, people you work with. I mean, it's got to be.
Well, some of us go down past that all that still isn't in front of us the same way, and that was this guy.
Yeah.
That was what you just said. I was like, how could you get this? He's like, well, I didn't have all that same stuff you did.
Wow.
I was like, TV and no. And that was just kind of as he was telling me a story. I was like, wow. I was a little bit taken back by it.
Right.
So.
Well, we like you said, we're taking different paths, and there's a lot of voices competing for our attention.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's so many people that get distracted and not even realize that they've been exposed to the gospel. They don't realize that they've been exposed to the things of God. Because, we say the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. The preamble to the Constitution, all men are created equal and endowed by their creator. So the idea and the concept of God is everywhere. It's on our money.
Correct.
But the voices that are competing for our attention drown that out so easily.
And we have so much that we're competing against in America too.
Yep.
We got a lot of distractions.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that's on purpose by the enemy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's good at it.
Oh yeah. Because I always tell
Yeah.
people, they're like, how do you know your religion's the right one? And it's like, first of all, it's not a religion, it's a relationship. And number two, if I were the devil, I would do exactly that. Because if all we had to choose from was God and the devil, easy pick, right? So what would I do if I was the devil? What's that guy's name? Steve Harvey. No, not Steve Harvey. The guy, the old guy with that.
Paul Harvey.
Paul Harvey. Thank you. He
Yeah.
did if I were the devil.
Oh yeah. The rest
So
of
that
the story.
explains everything. So I don't have to take all our time on the show. So check out Paul Harvey, If I Were the Devil, on YouTube.
Yeah, that's worth listening to. It really is.
Yeah, that's actually I hate to say that, but that's happening a lot today. Almost everything he has in that story
Oh
is
yeah.
actually happening today.
Yeah, it was prophetic. No question
Yeah,
about
you
it.
start listening, you go, "Wow, we really did go down this path."
Yep.
Yeah. And you know, I don't want to get too down this rabbit trail, but if you go back to the time of Aleister Crowley
Yep.
and the stuff that he was teaching, that's the stuff that's mainstream now. What he said, children should be exposed to these things at the youngest age.
It's all in
Yeah.
the
And lo
playbook.
and behold, that's what's going on in our schools now. That's what's going on at drag queen story time in the library and things
Yeah,
like
Kirk
that.
Cameron. Kirk Cameron got kicked out or denied to do story time, and Kirk Cameron's a good dude, Christian guy.
Yeah.
But yet they keep those transvestites and cross dressers, and oh my word, very
Yeah.
frustrating.
Doesn't make sense.
Nope.
So Brian said, I've always believed, but I haven't always followed. I became serious about my faith when I was about 15. And even though I've fallen several times, I've never looked back. I'll be 55 in August, and he has truly been faithful to me.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Brian and I both met Brian. I got to hang out with him a little bit at a festival last year. Great guy. Love you, man. But it's
He's all
so
right.
true. You get back up and you go. And
Yep.
that's the key to this faith that we have a God that empowers us he forgives us. He dusts us off. You know, it's like a baby learning to walk. If you got a
Yep.
baby that's learning to walk and it falls down, you don't run over and kick it and yell at it.
Yeah.
You pick it up, you hug it, you say try again, and you're there guiding. And that's how God is with us in our Christian walk.
Thing is as adults, we sometimes we forget that stuff.
We do. We
When we
really
watch
do.
other adults, so you know people struggle just as well as I do, and
Mhm.
sometimes we forget some of the real life struggles that are out there.
Exactly. Everybody
Yeah.
has a story.
Yeah, everybody
And-
does have a story.
And we need to be more
Christ-like.
compassionate towards our brothers and sisters that are struggling or going through a rough spot instead of
Yep.
criticizing them and attacking them and ostracizing them. We need to come alongside them and carry them along a little bit.
Yeah.
So we got about 12 minutes left. I do want to give you opportunity to talk about your business, the Turney Group, Turney Financial Group. So how did that get started, and what do you do for people?
Well, it got started. Like I said, I've been doing it for about 30 years, and we're real fortunate because we do finish in the country normally between top 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. We have consistently for a long time. Again, that's God working through us. But what we focus on is showing how people to keep their money safe and not lose it. There's so many things that are going on now. We can do anything and everything you want us to, as far as whatever you want us to do that's out there. We can pretty much handle whatever you want us to. But whatever we're going to do and show you things on, we're going to talk a lot about safety and you keeping your money through your retirement years or your life, and whatever you don't spend, we want to pass to beneficiaries. So safety is a real big concern of what we do. Because this is my opinion, and I'm not telling you I'm right. Wall Street has been fantastic for the last 12 or 13, 14 years. I just don't know if it's going to hold. I think Wall Street's kind of the Wall Street casino. And I'm afraid that we're going to see when it has its hiccup, we're going to see a lot of Americans just get devastated because a lot of them come into my office and they really don't have enough money to be playing that Wall Street casino. When we had MSNBC talking to us in one of our classes, his first thing to us is if you don't have $1 million in guaranteed funds, you shouldn't even be playing. You shouldn't even be playing the market. You don't have room for error. And don't get me wrong, $1 million is a lot of money. Agreed.
Yeah.
I wish I
Most
had
people
$1
come
million.
into my office, and we have the range from everything. 20,000 or 10,000 up to, a billionaire. I have
I'm
one
accepting
billionaire.
checks. I'm accepting checks. Just make them out to Bryan.
Yeah. Don't make out no checks to me. But when you see the things that go on, especially when some people come in and how they do stuff, it doesn't even match their principles when you start asking questions. And so I'll sit down and ask you some questions, or go through what you're doing, and I don't mean to say this, but most people don't have a clue what's going on in their finances, and you should know. You should have a clue. You're a steward of it. Agreed?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And so you should know what's going on in the background. A lady in my office the other day, and I'm not trying to get into companies or anything, but everybody's heard of BlackRock, correct?
Sure.
She came in, and whether you like BlackRock or don't like BlackRock, that's up to you. That's a personal preference. She didn't like BlackRock. She's telling me, I don't like BlackRock and I don't want any of my money in it. And she had her money with this guy, and I said, you don't like BlackRock at all? She goes, no. I said, did you know every single dime of your money is tied to BlackRock? She goes, no, it's not. I said, it is. And I opened up her thing. I said, there it is. You can see it. I said, is your guy not listening to you? And I think that's what we do in our office a little bit different than what most guys do, is we still remember this is your money, and we listen to what your needs are first, wants are second. And that's how we build up a financial strategy that'll work for you for the rest of your life. That's what we do that is different. And we want to do it safely, or we know what's going on. So that's how we look at our thing. And we have a lot of clients. We're in Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, Sparta. We're all over Middle Tennessee. We stay very, very busy at doing what we do. The greatest thing is about what we do, especially I didn't realize I didn't realize how much I love my job and like what I do until we had the car accident we had, and I didn't know my family had touched that many people. I did not know that. I get up every day and I try to figure out ways to do things, and I don't want anybody to know things I do. I don't do it for them to know me. I just don't want anybody to know what I do. I'm very private on all that stuff. And all of a sudden, we have this car wreck, and these guys fly in from where I teach a class in Las Vegas, and they're here trying to help take care of me. And I can't get out of the bed when I get home. They're going to put me in a nursing home. And the craziest thing, they're from Las Vegas, and things in Vegas are done different than here. And I'm laying in the bed, I can't get up, and he goes, "What's going on with your refrigerator?" I was like, I don't understand, Mark." He goes, "Your refrigerator." I said, "Is it broken?" He goes, "Well, it's just," and he starts explaining. It's not making sense to me. I don't get it. I said, "Just call Appliance Smart, have them come out and fix it." And he goes, "No, no, no." Well, I finally make it into the kitchen from the bedroom. This is days. He goes, "Look at your kitchen." I go, "Wow." He goes, "It never runs out of food. How do you do that?"
Wow.
It was people coming in of clients to church, are
Yep.
coming in and bringing food. Our counters are full. Our refrigerators are full. There was food everywhere. We could have fed an army. He goes, "They just keep on bringing it." I go, "I didn't understand that's what you're talking about when you said my refrigerator is broken." He goes, "Open it up. It was just packed full of food." He goes, I told Justin, I said, I never dreamed we touched that many people. I didn't think people cared about us like that. It kind of was an eye opening experience. It
That's
was like,
good.
yeah, but people, what we forget, people are better than what we're giving people credit for these days. All we hear on the news is bad. People are a lot better than what we're seeing on the news. And I guess you saw where we had that terrorist attack down in New Orleans and all that they're saying right now. You watch people rally. We'll see what all happens, but people are going to rally again. People are just better than what we're giving them credit for. Our news wants to do all this bad, ugly stuff and the devil. But I think if we had a good news station, I think our world might change a little bit. It
Yep.
I
doesn't always
agree.
need to be bad news.
Yeah, the division in the country right now is horrible. Um, and I think the most important thing we can do is when we meet somebody new and we talk, and earlier in the show we mentioned about, atheists and people that don't know the Lord. But the one thing we can do when you meet someone, there's commonality. there's things that you can find. I don't care where they're from, who they are, what their background is. You can find stuff that you have in common. You can find goals that you both share, and you build from that. And if we stop looking at all our differences and trying to celebrate diversity, and instead focus on what makes us similar, or focus on the things that we care about together, and build there as your foundation, then we can get to the point where we're talking about the things that make us different.
Well, the thing that we do when you talk about things that we say are different today, if you disagree with somebody or their lifestyle, we put a label on them that they hate us. Just because I don't agree with what you're doing or I don't agree with your lifestyle doesn't mean I hate you.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It means I care enough that I'm telling you that there's something you need to correct.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think our approach to that has been a little off, maybe as a group, where we're misconstrued. And I'm on a lot of social media, and I see a lot of rhetoric that's out there, and a lot of it to me is repulsive, and not in the sense or repellent. It repels people away.
Yep.
Rather than bringing them in.
If you start arguing with somebody over their things that you disagree in, you're not bringing them to Christ.
No, you're trying to
You
be
are
right.
pushing them away.
Yeah, you're trying to make yourself above them or better than them,
Correct.
smarter than them.
And again, you got to keep things simple. I think you got to show simple and love. And I think, and people say, well, you don't love if you do. Yes, you do. Don't tell me you don't love your kid and didn't spank them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You had a problem with your kid. You corrected them. You did whatever. That's love.
Yeah, if you see your kid running into
God
the
spanks us
street,
in the Bible. Don't tell me that's not love because he smoked some people in the Old Testament.
oh, no doubt about it. I mean,
that was
I love that
examples.
passage. His rod and his staff, they comfort me. And I've been comforted by the rod, and I've been comforted by the staff. And I recognize it's for my good. It's God using those tools to either protect me or to put me back on the right path.
My grandpa always told me a story. There's a kid sitting under a tree, and he had trained him to listen to his voice and to obey, like a lot of parents don't do nowadays. They cater to him. And he said, "Come here, son, now." And he got up and ran to his dad. "What's up?" As soon as he moved, the snake dropped on the ground where the kid was sitting. My grandpa's like, the moral of the story is you need to obey your parents' job, whatever.
And you don't always know why.
Right.
Bryan said we need to come back to treating people with dignity and respect. They won't care how much we know until they know how much we care. And that's right on target. And if we all just live Matthew 7:12, the world would be a better place. And that's the point, man. I want people to know I care about them.
Oh yeah.
And then you can have the conversations that need to be had.
Yep.
So that's the important thing.
And even in the Bible, you can't teach somebody if they're hungry. You got to feed them first.
Yes.
You got to do what you got. It's not, hey, you got to listen to all these verses, then I'll give you. No, you feed them, get them comfortable, and get to know them, and then you start wading in and going, hey, look, we need to. Yeah, that's how we need to look at stuff.
Absolutely.
But I think sometimes we try to shove everything down their throat before we ever know what we need to shove down their throat, and it's not at a point where it should ever technically be shoved down their throat. It always needs to be done with care, compassion, and hey, this is what God says. It's not me saying it. This is God saying it. And I think sometimes people come across it's me saying it, and it's not. It's in the Bible. As long as we stick to the Bible, what the Bible says, and we don't deviate from it, it like I said, fourth graders can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
You put it in front of them, let them understand what it is. Don't shove it down the throat. Say, this is what it says.
Yeah.
You can look it up yourself.
And don't wield the Bible like a club where you're beating people with it.
Correct.
Use it as a gentle teaching tool.
Yep.
Correct.
So we are at the end of our hour, and we often say that this is the fastest hour on the internet.
That's pretty quick.
How fast it goes. Before we go, how can people get in touch with you, Scott?
We're in all those places, but my phone number is 931-837-8210 or Scott Turney at turneyfinancial.com.
All right. So if you have financial needs, and I'm going to say this, plug. I met Scott over a year ago, went to one of his seminars, met at his office, talked about some stuff for my future. Then a year went by, and I did a lot of research. I did the Better Business Bureau thing. I looked into Scott because, you know, I'm trusting him with a lot of money, and I want to make sure that he's everything. And believe me, he checked out on everything. So
Well, one of the things we really tried not to do, we're not a high pressure,
not at
we
all.
just try to show you, you tell us your needs and wants, and we try to come up with a solution for you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I did my due diligence, and I suggest everybody, and no matter who you go to for financial advice, do your due diligence and pray and ask the Lord to lead you and guide you. So, Scott, man, thanks so much for being on the show tonight. I want to thank
thanks for having
everybody. It's been great. Thank everybody in the comment section. Brian, you want to close this out, man?
Yep. Don't forget to read your Bible every day. It's so important to have God's word in. So even if you're tired, and I know our regular viewers are getting used to this, even if you're tired, read one chapter, because you never know. I've had it where I didn't think I had anything. I'm like, well, that was a chapter. And then a couple weeks later, I'm witnessing to somebody, and that actual chapter popped out of my mouth. So the Holy Spirit can use it. Make yourself available. Read your Bible every day.
Amen. Well, thanks,
God
everybody.
is good.
God is good all the time. So blessings. We'll see you all here again next week, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody again. Have a great week, and God bless.
Have a great day.